Welcome, guys, to a new episode of Rutten and the Freeman Show. Mr. Rutten, how are you doing,
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for hanging on with me. I know I'm a little bit here and there sometimes, but I appreciate it.
I got you, man. I got you no matter what. Dude, so school's coming to an end. We got Memorial Day coming. What's some good memories? What's some things you like about the last day of school? I know Freeman Mommy is excited because she doesn't have to do lunches every morning and she doesn't have to be a taxi. So really, it's a celebration of life at the end of school for us. But Memorial Day is coming, the pool's opening.
It's so sad though. So awesome. My son is leaving junior high to go to high school. And for me, seventh grade was the most difficult year for me it was the most challenging year for me in my school years total. Seventh grade, I had to learn who I was and what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I didn't really
You're becoming a man.
I haven't really figured that out yet. but you know, the last day of school, everybody's crying. He's telling me that's just a huge sob fest. And you know, all the bullies are in the corner. They're like, they don't know what to do because they haven't identified with their emotions. They don't know how to experience, you know, sorrow or loss. They're like whatever. But school is cool, man. I remember my last days in school where we would TP everything and throw toilet paper all over the place and throw our books and papers up in the air and, you know, walk out, you know, deuces. We would just walk out. But I think times are different, you know, like my wife went and picked my son up from school last day, and it was a very somber, very emotional let go because they get to bond with these teachers. And I think teaching is a little bit different these days to where the teachers really, they get to know these kids. And when I was going to school, they could not wait to get us out of that classroom. It was a deal. It was a big, most of the teachers were happy as we were, but you know, it's just different now, you know?
Yeah, it is. You know, I remember the last days of school, it was always like, man, you know, the next 3 months off and it's going to be so awesome. And it was such a good mood. But then I was kind of bummed because a lot of my friends, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to see them all summer. You know, I don't drive a car, you know, especially like elementary and middle school. But I was kind of bummed. But there was a local pool that we used to go to. So Memorial Day was coming. The end of school was coming. So I knew I'd see some of those guys at Lindley Pool, which was like one of them pools where you pay $1, like a community pool, not a membership type thing. Had a high dive, 2 low dives. But, you know, I always liked the end of school, and I always liked doing the school shopping and getting my notebook paper and going on the school aisle at Kmart or Zayre's. And I used to love going to Zayre's and going to Kmart and the blue light special. And, you know, I'd give me some track shoes. You know, I never really could afford, or we couldn't afford the good shoes when I was in school, but I tried to get the most badass tracks, TRAXX shoes.
Yeah, I remember showing up in high school over the summer from junior high to high school is when I was introduced to Z Cavarici. You remember those pants that were kind of fold over in front and all the cool kids were wearing? Of course, I went to the dollar rack and I got some Z Cavarici from the dollar rack, but there was a lot of big facts. I had the Coca-Cola banner going across my shirt. You know, I had the OP shirt. And, you know, trying to be a trendsetter. And I show up for high school and everybody and their dog had all that stuff. So, you know, whatever. I had to pass up on the
I remember back in the day, people, you know, were wearing like, you're talking about the shirts, like the Panama Jack shirts. You remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I had one that I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have wore it, but you know, my stepdad always wore it and people laughed. So I was wanting to wear this shirt to school, but it said, it had a little logo right here and it said the cross between a pheasant and a duck. And on the back, it said PHUCK head instead of duck head. It said that. And I got in trouble at school because it said that it was like, you know what I'm saying? What it says, I don't want to stay here on YouTube. But, you know, those stylish things, you know, a lot of those things I couldn't have growing up. But, you know, I had the cross between a pheasant and a duck shirt.
I had the Catch It shirt. And so it was CATCHIT. And it said it in one word all the way across the back. And there was some Felix the Cat looking dude, you know, acting El Suave up on the front. And I got in trouble for that shirt too. But, you know, times were a little bit different. And the gangs where I grew up were wearing a lot of Disney clothes. So if you wore a Mickey Mouse shirt or a Goofy shirt,
you a gangster, man.
You were affiliated, supposedly affiliated. And I'm like, well, that's half my wardrobe, man. I could buy something else next week and then that'll be a gang sign.
You wear a dopey shirt, you get to go by the Goofy gang.
I end up walking to school naked. I can't wear nothing no more.
One time whenever we were in school, I had to take a shirt off. And, people were wearing all these Big Johnson shirts, liquor in the front, poker in the back, Big Johnson drivers. Remember those Big Johnson shirts?
Sure.
Well, my mom bought me one, and we were at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I'd always I saw some Guns N' Roses or Motley Crue, somebody wearing this shirt.
Yeah.
But it was a bunch of condoms in a band, and it said the Rubber Band on it.
Okay.
So my mom bought it for me, and I was like, Mom, I'm going to wear this to school. And she's like, well, go ahead and wear it. It's promoting safe sex.
Yeah,
that's what my mom told me.
That's innocent.
But I had to turn my shirt inside out.
You're walking around with big seams on your shoulder.
Yeah, and the tag sticking out of the back. But I remember the principal pulled me to the side. She was like, Mr. Freeman, you cannot be wearing that shirt in here. But everybody had on the Big Johnson shirts. Yeah, Big Johnson casino, liquor in the front, poker in the back. Those were fine. But the Rubber Band shirt, I had to turn inside out.
My mom, she's an amazing, amazing woman. She is like a bulldog, dude. She still gets out there and swings a machete, dude. She's not scared on the airsoft field. I'll talk about that a few episodes.
Sounds like my wife.
Yeah, a go-getter. You know what I mean? So my mom didn't really like the way the clothes and fashion was going, so she decided to fashion me some clothes of her own and sent me to my friend Brian Davis. Sent me to his house, and I had to knock on his door and have his mom point and laugh at me for 15 minutes. My mom made me some shorts and a button-up sleeveless shirt. And she got this material, and it was red and white checkered with turquoise bubbles on it. And so I show up at Brian Davis' house, and I had my head hanging low, man, because I already knew the ridicule that was coming.
Dude, I bet you picked up a lot of gals like that, didn't you?
No, dude. I didn't pick up anything but ridicule, man. I couldn't even walk a straight line. People throwing cut down so hard. But
I figured they'd have been lined up behind you wearing that. Your mom took care of you, man. She's like, ain't no girls messing with my boy. Ain't no girls messing with Rotten.
She tried to take care of me so good. Another thing she made me that I had to wear to school because she worked so hard on it was a pair of mustard yellow MC Hammer pants. And that,
dang, that's tight, dude. I'd have wore those.
I did. I wore them to school, and I had like the special shoes on, real shiny black, like with little spat covers on them. And I don't know what I was doing, but that was my junior high, man. Sometimes I wore a little bolo tie too.
Dude, I bet you had to take turns with girlfriends, man, wearing them pants.
Oh yeah, you know me, Killer Eddie.
I'll date you this week and you next. Yeah, Ed.
Yeah.
Ed made a fashion statement.
Knocking them dead. But I was, all my friends that were really going places were more people that were, especially in high school, going like ROTC or like after school things. And it made me in my brain right now where we're talking about Memorial Day. You brought up a second ago. Memorial Day is special to me because so many people in my family have been in the military, right? My dad was in the Navy, and he's like a sonar specialist. I don't know what his actual title was, but he would do sonar and radar and stuff in a submarine. And that's like Indiana Jones to me, dude. Can you imagine being in a submarine? Like,
yeah, that'd be crazy. I'm claustrophobic, man. I'd be panicking.
I can't imagine the days and nights that he spent in there not knowing if there were days and nights, That's just wild to me. My brother, he's like a karate freak, and he ended up going to the Navy as well. And now he lives up in Washington or something. And his job now, dude, is to go rescue people off the side of a mountain in a helicopter.
That's an adventure, man.
That's an adventure. My son, Forrest, he ended up going to South Korea on the DMZ border they had this big breakout up there. They were afraid that we were going to go to war. So he went up there to make sure nothing went down. It's just a history of people in my family have been in the military. So hats off. Memorial Day is coming. Big props.
Yes. Very, very thankful. I'm Alfredo Torres from Torres versus Zombies. I had a chance to go up and hang out with him. And that was the first time I ever went out DJing with anybody. He was DJing the night that I went up there. Uh-huh. But I think Torres, he was talking about, I think it's called the Bluegill.
Okay.
Maybe you have getting that wrong. He's in the Navy, but it was like 6 months underwater without surfacing. Imagine that. 6 months.
God,
half a year, man, underwater without resurfacing. Let's get to a little wrap-up show. A lot of times we just zing out real quick, but you can find me everywhere. I am Freeman Daddy 5. My TikTok is Sean Freeman something. I will find out my TikTok and put it in the comments below. But you had a couple of people. You tell people where they can find us, Rotten.
Okay.
And find yourself. And then, there's a couple people that you wanted to thank.
You can find me at Rotten the Freeman Show on Twitter as the show. And then find me on Facebook, too. My name is William Hauser on Facebook. I look kind of like this on Facebook. I don't know what else to, I don't know what picture to post up there. I feel like
normally I got my hair down. I have long hair, man, but it's all tucked back. Nice and neat for YouTube.
Oh, there you go, man.
I look like this. Dude, you like an Olin Mills picture, man.
Yeah, I need a rainbow and some dolphins, kind of like I'm
remember those old Olin Mill pictures where my sister would be looking in the camera and you see
yeah, like you're posing with an animal or something. The dog's kind of looking at you like what?
Like she's thinking about me. Here? But we do want to give a shout out. I know you had mentioned him, and it was one of my longest fans. I've done Knuckleball Cast, Knuckleballer Radio, Zombie Cast, all that over the last 13, 14 years. But James Lee, JLee672, is always giving me love, and he's giving us love here on Rotten and the Freeman Show. So mad props to Jay Lee. James Lee, we love you, man. Thank you so much. Be sure to like and subscribe, Rotten and the Freeman Show. Spread the word of Rotten and the Freeman Show. Tell your friends about it. Leave comments, and be sure to subscribe. But this is it, and we are out.
Yes. See ya.